Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to one of my Best Buy hauls. I actually have a huge stack of movies I'm adding to my collection. I'm really excited about it. Basically, I go to Best Buy when new movies come out, and they always have these bins that are like $4.99, $7.99, and I just pick up whatever I don't have, and I want to add to my collection. So you're going to see some new movies here, and some old classics as well. So, first movie in the pile, and I'll give you guys a little bit of history on each movie if I've seen it, and whether or not I think you should watch it if you're looking for new movies to watch. So the first movie is The Accountant, starring Ben Affleck, and basically his character has an advanced form of autism, or a high-functioning form of autism, which basically turns him into like the perfect, like most calculated assassin that's ever lived on the silver screen, in my opinion. And this movie actually had a lot of really cool twists and turns. It does tug at your heartstrings. You know, his relationship with his brother, his father, and his mother, like there's some things that happen that will make you sad, and at some points might even actually make you cry a little bit. But, you know, overall, the movie had an amazing plot. It did have some twists and turns that me or my wife didn't even see coming, which made the movie even better when you got to the end. So if you're looking for a really cool action movie that's a bit different, definitely check out The Accountant. Ben Affleck does an amazing job. I really enjoyed the movie. Next up, we got Apollo 13, which is actually kind of funny because there was a new episode of Legends of Tomorrow, and it was actually on Apollo 13 with the episode itself, if you guys saw it. Anyways, not really relevant to this movie. Well, kind of is, because in the Legends of Tomorrow, nothing happens. The oxygen tank doesn't explode, and everyone's fine. But anyways, this was actually one of the first movies I saw in a drive-in movie theater with my parents when I was younger. And, you know, it's a classic. If you've never seen Tom Hanks' Apollo 13, you know, this is a movie that you'll watch once and you'll want to rewatch it from time to time because it's just such a good movie. But I do hate to say it, one of the main characters, Bill Paxton, recently passed away, and that's really sad because I had just watched this movie, and then I had been watching Season 2 of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's been on TV, and Bill Paxton is the main bad guy throughout all of that, and he just died, like, in his 60s. It's really sad. So, if you want to see a movie, you know, and kind of pay tribute to Bill Paxton, you've never seen Apollo 13, definitely check it out. You're going to really like it. Next up, this movie needs no introduction. We got Back to the Future. Now, this is actually a triple pack of all three movies, and I actually got a really good deal on this. I've seen it at Best Buy. It's always been like $70 or more than that, and I'm like, I'm not paying $70 just because it's a 3-pack, you know? But they ended up having it on sale for like $30, and I'm like, that's a bit more reasonable. That's like $10 a movie, you know? And the other day, me and my wife were traveling. We're in the hotel room. Oh, we were in New York City, and you know, we didn't have that many channels to watch, and it just happened to have all three Back to the Future movies on in a row. Needless to say, I stayed up way too late, and I was, you know, really tired for some of my meetings. But how can Back to the Future be on TV and then you don't binge watch all of them in a row? Like, you just can't do it. Maybe some of you can, I can't, and that's why this is being added to my collection. Next, we have Boys in the Hood. I actually saw this movie for the first time last year, like the whole movie. I had always caught, you know, just like bits and pieces of it on TV. Never actually saw the whole thing from start to finish. This is definitely a classic, guys. If you've never seen this movie, you definitely have to pick it up. I mean, granted, you know, it has Ice Cube in it, and you might think it's going to be like Straight Outta Compton. It's not, just because it has him in it and it's kind of a gangster movie. It's a little bit slower than Straight Outta Compton is, but it's a classic nonetheless. And, I mean, it has young Larry Fishburne in it. And, I mean, this dude used to actually be a good-looking dude. Then you see him now in John Wick, and you're like, what the hell happened to this guy? But a lot of good actors came out of this movie. If you've never seen it, definitely add it to your collection. Next up, we have The Day After Tomorrow. This is a really good movie. This has Jake Gyllenhaal and Dennis Quaid in it. And, I mean, it's a movie, obviously. It's about the world ending. There's an Arctic freeze that happens, and everyone has to get, like, south of the border. and then basically all of New York freezes over, and people are literally freezing to death in the street, like turning to ice cubes at one point. And people are trying to survive in this library, and then Jake Gyllenhaal's dad is a part of, like, you know, the National Guard or whatever, and he actually wants to save his son, and he ends up saving his son eventually. But the struggle for them to get to each other because of what's this massive, you know, climate change that's happened, where basically the whole United States is covered in snow and ice. It's really intense. If you want to see like a really cool, like, I wouldn't say thriller, but a movie that's gonna, you know, keep you entertained and keep you wondering what's happening, definitely check out Day After Tomorrow. So the next movie I actually still haven't watched yet. I've only seen bits and pieces of this as well. But, I mean, it has an all-star cast that really went on to do big things. And it's called Dazed and Confused. I know, I've only seen, like, bits and pieces. I think the main parts I've seen is when they start, like, beating the kids with the paddles. You know, that was, like, the big thing back then for hazing, you know. But you got Ben Affleck, Mila Jovovich, I said their name wrong, Jason London, Joey Lauren Adams, Parker Posey, and Matthew McConaughey. You know, a lot of these people went on to become really famous actors. So this is still a movie that I need to watch to give you guys a really good synopsis of it. But, you know, I just haven't had time to watch that one yet. I have a huge stack here. So next movie is Deepwater Horizon with Mark Wahlberg. This movie just came out. So this movie is actually based on the true story of when BP had that massive oil spill that lasted for, what was it, like 87 days or something crazy like that. It was the worst oil spill in the history of our country. It's based on a true story. Obviously, Hollywood, you know, beefed up the action and what actually happened, but this movie, like, you obviously know what's going to happen. The oil rig catches on fire, but man, is it like, it keeps you wondering, like, who's gonna die, who's gonna get, like, because things are like exploding, like pipes are bursting, like all this shit just goes down at once, and you're wondering how they're gonna survive. And I mean, these people, the people did survive this, and at the end of the movie, there was a really cool send-off they did for the 11 people that lost their lives, and it's so sad when you watch, you know, and you get like emotional watching this movie, seeing people die, and you know, you see Gina Rodriguez, you see Kate Hudson, who plays Mark Wahlberg's wife, getting like really emotional, you know, and trying to wonder if he's alive or not. And at the end of the movie, when they show those people who did die, like, there were some really young, either the people who died were either really young or they had really young kids, like the photos that they were showing. It just makes you like all tearied up inside. But you're gonna like it, guys. It was a really good movie. Next up, I don't think this needs any introduction. We got Doctor Strange. And I actually, every time these movies come out, I always go for the Steelbook. And this is the Steelbook Blu-ray. And it has a really cool inside, for those of you guys who haven't seen it yet. Doctor Strange, I'm sure 99% of you who are watching this have seen this movie. Obviously, it's one of the installments of the Marvel series. If you haven't seen it, definitely go see it, because you're missing out on a phenomenal movie. This movie was a lot like, it had like the Ant-Man feel, you know? It had just the right amount of seriousness with just the right amount of comedy that made the movie phenomenal. And Doctor Strange is a really unique character. Obviously, he deals with sorcery. He's a guy who gets into a car accident and his hands, which he's a doctor, so his hands are his life, and he's able to do procedures that, you know, most machines, you'd have to have a machine to do it. And some machines can't even do it, you know, and he's able to do it. I don't know how that works, but, you know, he ends up losing function in his hands, and he becomes, you know, a sorcerer because he's looking for a way to heal himself. And, you know, you guys know the story. If you haven't seen it, you definitely have to pick up Doctor Strange. You're not going to want to miss that one. Next up is, what is this? Oh, so this was actually another addition to my fairy tale collection. And this is actually a full-length movie called Phoenix Priestess. And basically, if you guys watch Fairy Tale, it's the same cast in here, and then there's basically this whole thing going down. I did watch it, where you know, this girl, she's protecting this like Phoenix stone, and it's broken into two halves, and they're trying to connect the halves together because I guess they think that if you do that, you'll become immortal and you'll live forever. And then obviously what ends up happening is they connect these stones, and all shit breaks loose, and the Phoenix actually appears, and then they have to try to figure out a way to fight the Phoenix, or it's going to destroy the entire world. So if you're into fairy tale, haven't seen that movie, didn't even know a movie came out, definitely pick that up and watch it because you're going to enjoy it. Next up, we got A Few Good Men. Amazing movie. You Can't Handle the Truth. You guys all know that one. Definitely a classic you want to add to your collection. It's actually been a really long time since I've watched this movie. I should probably put it on sometime soon, but definitely an oldie but classic you want to add to your collection. Next up, we got The Fifth Element. I absolutely love this movie, and to be honest with you, I was surprised I didn't even have it in my collection yet. I mean, Chris Tucker in this movie is absolutely hilarious. If you guys like Chris Tucker and you liked him in Rush Hour, you're going to definitely love him in here. He's like out of control. And then obviously we have a much younger Bruce Willis too, you know. And then I always say her name wrong. Mila Jovovich, there we go. My wife would make fun of me if she was here. Mila Jovovich, she does an amazing job. She's obviously the Fifth Element. If you guys haven't seen this movie, it's a classic. It's basically they're trying to save the world. And it's funny too because this movie takes place in the future, and it's always funny to watch older movies that, you know, try to show what the future is gonna look like, and it's just like so out there, and we're not even close to what, you know, is in these movies yet. It's just funny to me watching stuff like that. But basically, I'm a little hazy on the actual plot, but you know, the world's gonna get destroyed, and they have to collect, you know, these elemental stones, and they have to bring the fifth element, which is this girl, to this sacred tomb to activate these stones, because it basically, you know, it acts as a protective weapon for the earth. I won't, you know, ruin it too much for you guys, but it's a really fun movie to watch. It's old Bruce Willis. You can't go wrong with old Bruce Willis. Well, young Bruce Willis, I guess, is what I really meant to say. Next up is Howard the Duck. I haven't watched this movie yet. I have absolutely no idea what this movie is even about. Believe it or not, this is a Marvel movie. You guys remember at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, they show Howard the Duck. And so this was in the bin for like $4. And I figured maybe eventually I'll watch it and figure out what the hell Howard the Duck is. So I can't really tell you guys if this is good or not. I'm going to assume, based on how it looks in the back, that it's probably a really cheesy movie. But, I mean, I'm sure I'll still enjoy it. Next up, we have Inferno with Tom Hanks. And this is a continuation of the Da Vinci Code and the movie Angels and Demons. And we actually just watched this movie, and it was friggin' amazing. You can never go wrong with Tom Hanks. He always delivers in every movie that he's in. And basically, without giving away too much, because I don't want to ruin this movie for you guys, you know, the main, I wouldn't say he's a bad guy. He's just kind of a little crazy. The main character of the movie is basically talking about how the world, you know, is becoming overpopulated. Like, there's too many humans. And at the rate we're growing as a species, you know, we're at 8 billion now, and pretty soon we're going to be at 16 billion, then 32, and then like it's just going to keep doubling because we keep having kids, you know. Families are still having like 4 kids apiece, and there's no place to go anymore. And before that can happen, something needs to be done. And so he creates the Inferno virus, which would basically wipe out like 95% of the humans. And it's called Inferno because it's based off of Dante's Inferno. You guys will see that in the movie. And in the beginning of the movie, Tom Hanks has no idea what the hell is going on because he's lost his memory. So, like I said, I don't want to give too much away because it's really easy to with these movies. But if you want to see like a movie that has twists and turns and things you're not going to expect, and you like those puzzle type movies, and you enjoyed Da Vinci Code, and you enjoyed Angels and Demons, you're going to definitely like this movie. Next up is Tom Cruise in Jack Reacher, Never Go Back. Now, I hate to say it, But this movie really let me down. Erica and I loved the first Jack Reacher. It had an amazing plot. It had an amazing, storyboard to it. The characters were fun. It was exciting. There was lots of action. It kept you guessing. You kept wanting to see more. Tom Cruise was a badass. And you watch this movie, and Tom Cruise is still a badass, but the plot is, like, really weak. He, like, supposedly has this daughter that he never knew he had, and the shit goes down, and the chick who's in friggin' the Avengers, I forget her name, and How I Met Your Mother, probably has her name on here somewhere. I forget her name. Anyways, is like the main chick in the movie, and she's been framed, and he's trying to protect her because he's in love with her, and they just go on this adventure together to kind of clear her name because there's some people in the army or whatever, the military, that are selling drugs and using the cargo of army planes to transport them and sell them. It's a really weak story. Like, you guys can tell right now, I didn't retain much from the movie. There was a lot of really awesome action scenes. I mean, I didn't like the plot, but I really enjoyed Tom Cruise's acting and action scenes. So, it's still worth watching, for sure, if you enjoyed the first one. Just don't expect, like, a really meaty plot, I guess is all I wanted to say. And I got the Steelbook, so I got a really cool, like, comic book with it, too. Alright, down to the last few movies. Law-Abiding Citizen. If you've never seen this movie before and you really like thriller movies with twists and turns, this is something you're going to really like. Jamie Foxx, Gerard Butler. I mean, this movie is friggin' awesome. The banter between the two, trying to, like, basically out-strategize each other, is just friggin' crazy, man. It was a movie, like, basically, Gerard Butler's crazy. Let me see, I'm going to read. It's been so long since I've seen it that I kind of remember what it's about, but I'm kind of forgetting at the same time. So let me read the back for you. So Clyde Shelton is an upstanding family man whose wife and daughter were brutally murdered during a home invasion. When the killers are caught, Nick Reich, Jamie Foxx, a hotshot young Philadelphia prosecutor, is assigned to the case. Against his will, Nick is forced to offer one of the suspects a light sentence in exchange for testifying against his accomplice. Fast forward 10 years, the man who got away with murder is found dead. Oh yeah, that's what happened. So Clyde Shelton, Gerard Butler, his family gets murdered, and because some of the dudes got light sentences, he starts, like, basically planning his revenge on Jamie Foxx and the dude that got away. And there's I'm pretty sure this is the movie where the guy's on a table and there's a mirror above, and Gerard Butler is basically has the guy tied down and his eyes stuck open, so he has to watch what Gerard Butler does to him, like cutting off pieces of his body. I'm pretty sure that's in this movie. So it gets kind of dark. So if you like that kind of stuff, you're definitely going to enjoy Law-Abiding Citizen. Man, I got to rewatch some of these movies. It's been so long. Here's the next one. We got Mark Wahlberg and George Clooney, The Perfect Storm. It's been a while since I watched this movie too, but basically, George Clooney and Mark Wahlberg lead a talented cast in a harrowing special effects adventure that intercuts the plight of seafarers' struggle to reach safe harbor with the heroics of air-sea rescue crews. I'm not sure. I think this is the movie. Yeah, this is the movie where they're on a fishing boat, and it's basically one of those classic stories of they're just trying to fill their quota before they go back to port, or else they're going to have no money because they didn't catch enough fish. And then they end up getting stuck in a storm because they're trying to get to a different area where they can try to, catch some better stuff. And then they obviously end up, hitting this big-ass wave and all shit breaks loose. So it's been a while since I watched this movie, but I definitely remember watching it and it being a feel-good movie, tugs at the heartstrings, and you'll enjoy it if you check it out. Last three, we got Revenge of the Nerds. I mean, this is just a classic movie. Nerds basically taking over and showing you how cool they are. And what's funny about this is most people don't realize that one of the main characters in this movie, his name is Booger, and he actually does the voice of Snot in American Dad. And that character, Snot, is based off of Booger in this movie, which is obviously pretty easy to figure out. But if you guys have never seen Revenge of the Nerds and you want to basically see a movie where nerds outsmart the jocks and then end up hooking up with like all the hot chicks, this is definitely something you'll want to watch. I think my dad had me watch this movie. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Next up is Surf's Up 2 Wave Mania. Now, this is a cartoon movie. I like cartoon movies, and I was really excited to get this movie, okay? But what ended up happening is I watched it and it completely sucked ass. And I don't say that much about movies. It sucked so much that I rewatched the first one after just to get the memories of this one out of my head. The first movie was shot like really cool, and I was wondering, I'm like, why isn't Shia LaBeouf in this movie playing the main character, Cody? And probably because he read the script and he was like, this is garbage, and he didn't want to be a part of it. And good for him for saying that, because this was just an absolute garbage movie. It totally pulled away from like all the excitement the first one brought. And I mean, the first one was way better. If you like those kinds of movies, and the song they play at the end, Erica always makes fun of me because she knows I like to watch that movie because they play that New Radical song at the end. They play that at the end, and it really pulls at your heartstrings because of like all the interactions with the characters. That movie's way better. And then the last one, guys, is White Men Can't Jump. And it's actually kind of funny because I watched this movie a long time ago, and I hadn't seen it for a long time, and then it was on TV the other day, and then just so happened to see it in Best Buy like the next day, so I picked it up. But basically, you got young Wesley Snipes and young Woody Harrelson. Woody Harrelson's character is always in trouble with money. He always places bets, but he happens to be okay at basketball. So him and Wesley Snipes kind of team up. And to be honest with you, like, it's a movie that if it's on TV, I'll watch it. It's not a movie that like I'll actively want to watch on my own, because even after just seeing it like a few weeks ago, I'm still having trouble picking up on what the plot was. Let me see real quick. They're an unlikely pair of basketball hustlers. They team up to con their way across the courts of Los Angeles, playing a game that's fast, dangerous, and funny. And that's all it basically says. So yeah, like even the description doesn't have much to say about this movie. It's a funny movie. If it's on TV and you want something to watch and you're bored, I definitely recommend watching it. I wouldn't necessarily turn away from it, but it's not like gonna change your life or anything like that. But that's it, guys. There's my stack of DVDs. Holy crap, this was a long video, but I mean, I added a lot of really good stuff to my movie collection, and I love sharing it with you guys. So if you sat through it this long, and there are some movies that you really liked, let me know down in that comment section below. And also, if there's some movies you think that I need to add to my collection, I want to see those down in the comment section below too. As always, guys, show some love. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe, and as always, more good stuff coming soon. See you guys.